The void of space stretched endlessly, a canvas of darkness punctuated only by distant stars and the occasional flare of cosmic storms. Commander Elias Varick, a seasoned human pilot of the United Earth Fleet, sat alone in the cockpit of the intrepid Dawn, scanning the outer sectors near the Perseid expanse. His latest mission was reconnaissance routine, he thought, but fate had other plans. Elias adjusted the ship's sensors, noticing an anomaly, a small energy signature drifting near the debris of a destroyed freighter. Curiosity overcame protocol. He set a course to investigate. As he approached, he realized this was no ordinary wreck. The freighter had been violently torn apart, its hull ruptured, radiation still leaking. But what caught Elias's attention most was the faint cry he detected, an organic life form struggling to survive amid the wreckage. He landed on the nearest asteroid cluster to survey the damage and found the source, a small creature, no larger than a human toddler, its translucent skin shimmering faintly with bioluminescence. Its limbs were fragile, but its eyes, oh, those eyes, held an intelligence that sent a shiver down Elias's spine. The creature looked at him, fear mingled with a silent plea. Despite protocols forbidding contact with alien life without authorization, Elias's instincts as a protector took over. He carefully lifted the child and brought it aboard his ship, ignoring the alarms that had already begun to sound on the intrepid Dawn systems. It wasn't until later that he learned the truth. The child belonged to the Vexari, a species known across multiple galaxies for their psychic abilities and their ruthless defense of their young. To steal, or even aid, a Vexari child was considered a declaration of war. Elias had just committed an act that could ignite interstellar conflict. The journey begins. With the child safely aboard, Elias patched into the ship's database to identify the species. The Vexari were described in dry, bureaucratic language as sentient beings with extraordinary psychic potential, capable of influencing neighboring species' behavior. Elias stared at the words, realizing that neighboring species' behavior was a polite euphemism for mind control. The child, whom he had begun to call Luma after the faint glow of its skin, stirred. Its small tendrils of light reached toward him, and a wave of warmth, almost a heartbeat of communication, radiated through the cockpit. Elias felt a connection, not fully understood, but undeniable. He tried to contact Fleet Command, but the Perseid expanse was notorious for its communication blackouts. He was alone, a human in the void with a child that, if discovered, would mark him as an enemy of one of the galaxy's most feared civilizations. Every decision he made now carried the weight of not just his life, but the potential for galactic war. Yet Elias refused to leave Luma vulnerable. The first pursuit. It wasn't long before they were discovered. A Vexari scouting ship, sleek and silver, appeared on the sensors. The craft radiated psychic energy that made Elias's head ache, probing for the child's location. "They know," Elias muttered, tightening his grip on the controls. "They'll stop at nothing." The chase was relentless. The intrepid Dawn weaved through asteroid fields, dodging energy beams that tore through rock and metal alike. Luma clung to Elias's shoulder, its small bioluminescent form pulsing in sync with the ship's alarm lights. During a brief lull, Luma reached toward the controls, and Elias hesitated. The child's glow intensified, and suddenly, he felt the Vexari's pursuit falter, their movements delayed by some inexplicable force. Luma's psychic potential was raw, untrained, but powerful enough to protect them both. Elias realized then that the child wasn't just innocent. Luma was a beacon of hope, a being capable of shifting the balance of power in the galaxy. And Elias had vowed to protect it. The deserted world. Elias plotted a course to the uncharted planet Erythra, a harsh, red wasteland avoided by most civilizations. The planet's atmosphere was thin, the gravity marginally higher than Earth's, but it offered isolation, a chance to hide and heal. On landing, Elias fashioned a temporary shelter from the wreckage of a nearby cargo station. Luma, weak from its ordeal, rested, its glow faint. Elias tended to the child, improvising medical care from what little he had. As he worked, he reflected on the absurdity of the situation, a human risking death, defying fleets, and facing potential genocide, all for a child of another species. Yet in the quiet moments, he found purpose he hadn't felt since leaving Earth. Luma's trust, pure and unguarded, was a gift, and the galaxy's opinion mattered little compared to the life in his hands. Allies in the shadows. While Elias trained and cared for Luma, word of his defiance spread. Among the stars, whispers of the human who dared reached the ears of those who opposed the Vexery's tyranny, smugglers, exiled scientists, and even rogue fleets who had suffered under Vexery manipulation. One by one, they came to Erythra, offering aid. Dax, a rogue engineer with a penchant for weaponized drones, arrived first. He marveled at Luma's glow and warned Elias, "They'll come for the child. You've started a fire that will burn across the expanse." Elias only nodded, understanding the weight of the warning. Yet he refused to retreat. Each new ally became part of an improvised family, bound by a shared sense of justice. They fortified the shelter, enhanced the ship, and prepared for the inevitable confrontation.
The attack.
It came at night. The red sky of Erythra was illuminated by the approaching Vexery fleet, their psychic presence overwhelming. Elias and his ragtag allies fought desperately, using ingenuity over brute force. Drones zipping between the enemy ships disrupted targeting arrays, while Elias piloted the intrepid Dawn in daring maneuvers that should have been impossible. Through the chaos, Luma glowed brighter than ever, projecting a psychic shield that deflected attacks, buying precious seconds for their defenses. The child's eyes met Elias's in a moment of understanding. They were more than allies. They were partners in survival. In a daring move, Elias lured the Vexery flagship into a canyon on Erythra, triggering an energy surge that crippled the lead ship without harming Luma. It was risky. Any miscalculation could end them all, but it worked. The remaining Vexery ships retreated, leaving Elias and Luma standing among the scorched surface, battered but unbroken. The revelation. As dawn broke over Erythra, the Vexery sent a single envoy, a towering figure of silver light, to parley. Elias stepped forward, holding Luma close, expecting rage, maybe even death. Instead, the envoy spoke, its voice a harmony of tones. "Human, you have risked annihilation to protect one of us. Few species would show such resolve. We misjudged you." Elias's jaw tightened. Luma is not just a child. They're a life. And life deserves protection, no matter the species. The Vexery envoy paused, considering. Then, with a gesture that seemed both formal and hesitant, it nodded. "You have changed our perception. Not all humans are to be feared. You have honor." For Elias, the words were almost surreal. The galaxy's most feared civilization had acknowledged a human's courage. A new alliance. In the months that followed, Luma thrived under Elias's care, growing stronger and wiser. The story of the human who defied the Vexery spread across systems, inspiring other species to rise against oppression. Fleets and colonies once subdued by fear began to unite, forming a coalition that respected humanity's courage and ingenuity. Elias, now a figure of legend, refused command positions or titles. He had done what any human would do. He had saved a child. Yet in saving Luma, he had also saved countless lives, shifting the balance of power in the galaxy. Luma, too, grew in wisdom, learning not just to protect but to understand the vastness of life. The bond between human and alien became emblematic of what the galaxy could achieve when fear was replaced by empathy and courage. The legacy of courage. Years later, as Elias and Luma watched the twin suns set over Erythra, the child's bioluminescence pulsed softly, a rhythm of life and promise. Elias smiled, knowing the galaxy had witnessed an act of bravery that transcended species, politics, and war. He risked death to save an alien child, the histories would say. And in doing so, he showed that humanity's strength is not just in technology or numbers, but in courage, compassion, and the refusal to surrender to fear. And somewhere, in the far reaches of space, the Vexery fleet would remember that day. Not with hatred, but with respect. A human had defied them, and in that defiance, the galaxy had learned the truth. When humanity stands for life, no predator, no tyranny could ever prevail.